your heart out.
Hi, I'm Kayla Ogden.
And I'm Rachel Sear.
And this is
Write Your Heart Out.
Here We Go. Last night, Rachel and I went to the movies.
We
in
did.
Downtown San Mateo, California.
We sure did. It was lovely. Rainy evening. It was
Yes.
a perfect movie evening.
Yes, I got a large Coke Zero with lots of ice and a medium popcorn.
And I got a giant package of Welch gummies that I didn't have to share with my kids.
Yeah, I was so surprised when I saw the Welch's gummies. I was like, girl, because I see those every day in my house.
Are you a toddler?
I'm like, why did you get those?
Oh, I love them though. Okay, wait, hold on. Before we jump into Bugonia, which of course we must,
That's what we saw, Bugonia.
you posted on Instagram that you won an award.
Oh my God.
Kayla, and then you didn't even say anything to me. And so I'm ambushing you in this moment.
Well, I wanted to save it for the pod.
Oh,
shit.
Well, here we are.
So that's something about Rachel and my real life friendship now is that I never want to talk to her about anything because I want to always save it for the pod.
And I was wildly offended. You didn't say anything to me.
You're not going to text me of all people about this. Yeah. So my friend Blair Vischer, who we've read her poetry, or she's read her poetry on this podcast before.
Yes.
She texted me and she said, I got an email that I placed in the San Francisco Writers Conference writing contest. And I was like, oh, good for you. And I was trying to feel compersion
Oh,
again.
yes, that fucking compersion.
I was like, great. But then I clicked on the blessed promotions tab in my Gmail and I got an email from Lisa Provost. And she said, congratulations, SFWC Writing Contest finalist. And it turned out that me, I placed. I was a finalist
This is so exciting.
Yes.
And what did you submit?
Okay, so this is what's so crazy is, so I was a finalist in the adult fiction.
Okay.
Along with 10 others. What I submitted was something that existed for a small glimmer of time. I've talked about this on the podcast several times. I was trying to write something speculative called The Woman Tree.
Yes, of course.
And I wanted it to be sort of like creepy and weird. I wanted it to be sort of like a Sayaka Murata kind of style thing. So I started writing it. I've talked about it on the pod a whole bunch of times. And then, just like I've actually done with my whole novel, I started getting really in my head and I decided, okay, this book is not going to be a male protagonist where all the women have died in the world.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to be a female protagonist where all the men have died in the world.
My perfect world.
So so it changes the whole book in this case if I change the protagonist's sex. But I did it. And then I had this whole situation with my muse where I felt like my muse was saying, what the fuck are you doing? Like, change it back. This is not what I am inspiring you to do.
Yeah.
But in the brief 2-day period where the protagonist was a woman and the work was called The Man Tree, I sent that in to the San Francisco Writers Conference.
I like it.
Literally, whatever I sent, I didn't send it through my email, so I don't have like a copy of that. I sent it through their website. Whatever the fuck I sent them does not exist anymore in my life. Like, it's, if you go on my Google Docs, I had just changed it back.
Oh, no. Well, you can go back in Google Docs. It shows you different versions.
Oh, okay.
So maybe I can help you find it if you want help.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, they have it, and I guess they're going to print it in their anthology.
This is very exciting.
And they asked me for my bio, so I'm going to shout out Write Your Heart Out in there.
Okay, wonderful.
Because that's all there is to say. But I'm so happy and excited. And now I talked to Blair, my friend. So we went to this conference years ago before COVID. And we had the most inspiring time. I feel like we were like little baby writers back then. And we tried to get agents. I didn't even have a full manuscript at the time. And then now it feels crazy that we both kind of got our finalists in their contest.
That's so amazing. I love it.
Yeah. And then Blair was like, geez, it's going to cost $850 to be admitted to this thing. She's like, that's a lot for me right now. I said, well, why don't we volunteer this year? So
So you're volunteering at the conference?
we applied to volunteer at the
That's
conference.
great.
And if you volunteer, you can get in for free.
Of course.
Yeah, and then you meet all the people. So you should volunteer with us.
Yeah, wait, when is it?
It's in February. It's over the Valentine's Day weekend.
Okay. I mean, I would love to do that. That would be amazing.
Yeah. Okay. So I'll send you the link, and it's like you get chosen to volunteer, I guess. So I haven't heard back about that, but she has to choose me because I'm one of the finalists.
Yeah, right? I mean, it would be very interesting if you didn't get chosen. I mean, I guess
Yeah, I'd be like, why?
maybe they don't want creepy stalker people.
Yeah.
Writing stalkers, like
Yeah, they don't
that
want...
one story that you wrote.
About the fangirl.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm so happy. I needed somebody to give me like the lightest tap, like pat on the back.
Yeah.
And so I feel like that was great.
I'm so happy for you.
Thank you.
Okay, Bugonia.
Bugonia.
So we went to see this last night, as we said, and we both went into it without having very much information about it.
No, I didn't
right?
really know anything about it. And in fact, I hate previews.
Oh,
Like,
yeah. Okay.
yeah.
So why did you choose that to be the movie we saw?
Okay, so I think that Emma Stone chooses the most interesting, amazing projects. And she is the star. She's one of the stars of the film. And then I heard somewhere that the director is awesome.
Yorgos Lanthimos. I'm probably saying that wrong.
Yorgos Lanthimos.
Yeah, and
Let's see,
he's
what
the
else has
one
he
who
done?
did Poor Things.
Exactly.
And I didn't know that going into it. I tried to know as little as possible going into the movie last night. I literally looked up like the 2-sentence overview. Afterwards, I found out it was the Poor Things person, and I was like, oh, that totally tracks. The directing style is very similar.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I like that this movie didn't have that steampunk.
Yeah, it wasn't
bent.
otherworldly. You know, I didn't have that.
Yeah, it
other
was
thing
in
happening.
this world.
In like
Mostly.
yeah, right. But it was in a rural area that was like kind of shitty. You know, nothing like Poor Things universe.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. So I had heard that the director of Poor Things had done it, so I really wanted to see it. And I knew that Rachel loved Poor Things.
Yeah.
So I thought we should go together. And one thing that we've been talking about for a long time is we both kind of explored the save the cat paradigm, which you can look at in another episode by us earlier in the pod called Save the Cat, where they have all of these beats. And apparently a lot of Hollywood blockbuster films, the scripts follow these beats. And this is a way to make sure that your script keeps the reader on sort of an entertaining, emotional roller coaster and also gives them satisfaction at the end of the work.
Totally.
But a lot of people these days find Save the Cat a little bit cringe because it's known to be kind of overdone. And now people can kind of... It makes it so that things just feel rote. Like, it's like, oh, da-da-da-da-da.
Like, you can catch on to the formula too easily.
Yeah, and you start to be able to just predict how everything's going to go. And you just feel like you've seen this movie before, even though you haven't. And that kind of thing. So I thought, well, I wonder if whoever wrote this movie used the Save the Cat beats, because... people say that everyone uses it. And so does everyone truly use it?
Sure. Or do good movies naturally fall in line with the basic overview of Save the Cat, which I think is probably a good thought process, is like just a good movie that catches your attention. This is usually, you don't have to use the formula. I think, you know, like good food uses the 5 basic ingredients of salt, sugar, fat, you know, the tastes. If good food follows that formula naturally, maybe this also happens naturally.
Right, yeah.
Right?
Or maybe certain screenwriters and filmmakers are trying specifically to butt against it.
Right.
So that they don't fall into these cliches. I don't know which one it is, but I got us clipboards.
Yep.
And I printed out all the different beats that Save the Cat style movie is supposed to hit. You can also use that format for novels too. And Rachel and I have gone through our work and tried to see if we're hitting the beats and stuff like that. So I said, like, let's take notes. Let's see if we can find these beats in the work or not. And overall, what did you think about Did you think it was hitting the beats or not?
So I had a very hard time taking notes in the movie theater. It was too dark. It was very hard for me to take the notes. So I do feel like it hit the beats. However, not in the way that I could follow it, how you wrote it out beat by beat so that we could, like fill in the blank. Thinking back as I was driving home that it got them all. Mm-hmm. But I don't know if it was necessarily in the same order.
That is totally what I was going to say. Yeah. I was like, it did a lot of the things that Save the Cat screenplay is supposed to do, but it kind of like mixed them up. And it may not have done all of them, so I don't know if that even counts. Oh, I just wanted to let you guys know that I think we're just definitely going to spoil this.
Yes.
We're going to spoil this.
For sure, spoiler alert. We'll put that in the Instagram post and everything.
Yeah, because exactly. Like, I definitely just want to talk about everything that happens in this movie and how it kind of relates to these different beats.
If you are listening right now and you don't want it to be spoiled, pause, go watch the movie.
And come back and listen.
And 10 out of 10 recommend it. I can say that.
Oh, yeah.
That's no spoiler. We literally looked at each other afterwards and both of us were like, I loved it.
Yeah. Rachel immediately was like, I loved it. I was like, me too.
Yeah.
I mean, it was so good. I love seeing a good movie like that.
Yeah. Okay, so enjoy the movie.
Yeah.
And come back to us in a few.
So the first part of Save the Cat is an opening image where you're supposed to see life as normal, like the way it is before all the shit that's going to happen in the movie, right? And so in this movie, it was really cool. There were these two guys and they were beekeepers and they're cousins. Mm-hmm. And one of them, who's like the main guy, do we know the character's name?
Danny or Teddy.
Teddy.
Yeah. Wait, hold on. Should we do a tiny little blurb about what the movie is?
Sure.
Real
go
quick?
for it.
Although you guys have already watched it, obviously.
Yeah.
But if you're powering through, you don't care about spoilers. Here, we're just going to give you a little bit of a thing. Bugonia is a 2025 absurdist black comedy thriller film directed by Yorgos Lanthimos, like we said, based on the 2003 South Korean film Save the Green Planet by Jang Joon-hwan. And Bugonia follows two young men who kidnap a powerful CEO, suspecting that she is secretly an alien who wants to destroy Earth. And the screenplay was by Will Tracy. Starring Emma Stone, who is obviously the powerful CEO, Jesse Plemons.
He's great.
He is great. Oh, God. Creep factor, 10 out of 10.
Oh, and he's married to Kirsten Dunst. Yeah. Who's the best.
Right.
She's sort of like a local baby. She's like in the Bay Area, I think.
Is she?
At least like LA or San Diego. I don't know. She's in California.
And they are such an interesting couple because they both really transform as actors.
Yes.
And especially Jesse. He grosses me out, and he's in so many ways as an actor, and then I see him in like photo shoots or like interviews, and I'm like, wildly different. Like, you're not gross.
Yeah. He deserves an Academy Award for this performance. I think maybe more so than Emma Stone, but who the fuck cares? Give her all the awards. Yeah, it doesn't matter.
The other actors, Aiden Delbus, who I assume is
cousin.
Yeah, who's Dan? Was it Dan?
Yeah, maybe Dan.
Or Dawn.
Dawn.
Oh, shoot. Dawn and Teddy. Okay, and then Stavros Halkias, although I don't know who that is in there. And then Alicia Silverstone plays Jesse Plemons' mom.
Wow.
And she had a very small but powerful part. So,
yes. Okay. I think the other one must be the cop. It's a really small cast.
Must be, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that's the movie. And it opens with Dawn and Teddy, these two cousins, and Teddy is teaching Dawn about bees and the plight of the honeybee. Yeah, so that's like life as usual. And then later on in the Save the Cat paradigm, at the very end, the final image is supposed to call back to the life as normal first image. Oh, and then secondly, there was another opening image where Emma Stone, the CEO, is walking around her company, like the office building, and she's perfectly put. She's in control.
And it also starts with her morning routine of like vitamins and like running on a treadmill with a mask on and all of the anti-aging type things that you see celebrities doing
Yeah, yeah, at
right?
her home.
Yeah.
Yeah. So there's those opening images, life as usual. I don't think we need to go through the story necessarily beat by beat. Like, I think it makes more sense to talk about, do they, at the end of the movie, do they do that final image? Do they recall back?
Absolutely. I mean, it starts with bees and ends with bees.
Yeah, it starts with bees, it ends with bees. It, actually, the very final shot of the film has the cutest little bee
It's just on that little purple flower.
Is that a begonia?
I assume
It
so.
should be,
I should
because
look.
there's no other
That would
begonia
make
mentioned
sense.
in the whole film.
That let me look it up. Begonia.
Yeah, it shows the cutest little bee like tripping all over this flower. So the film definitely follows the beats in that
It
sense.
was not a begonia. Begonias are this interesting.
Fuck.
So what an interesting name.
Why? Why
Okay,
begonia?
we will look that up.
We gotta figure
we will
that out.
circle back. The juxtaposition between the conspiracy theorist cousins
Mhm.
and their obsession with bees, and the opening scene there, he's talking about the bees, but he's also talking about how life on Earth is maybe not what we think it is. And then it's also showing her doing her routine. And so it's like showing that they're in this like rural shitty house, like doing their weird conspiracy theory shit.
Oh, yeah.
And she's like living this high power life. So like it's showing that,
Yeah.
which is very much theme stated.
Theme stated.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So you're saying the juxtaposition of the different lifestyles and that sort of like foil is the theme?
Yeah, well them being like clearly hillbillies talking about conspiracy theories.
Yeah.
And then right away you're seeing this high-powered woman. So they think that somehow she's conspiring against them. That feels very clear.
Yeah.
Yeah. Did I throw you off?
No, it's all good. I'm just the next beat is theme stated.
Right.
And I was writing about that because some of the things that the beekeepers were saying, I'm like, oh, are they stating the theme? Because he said something about that the bees have this disease where they aren't like working for the queen anymore, which is what bees do in their colonies, right? They work for the queen. They start going off and abandoning the queen. And the cousin says, well, why do they leave her? And at this point, I didn't know what was going to happen in the movie. So I'm like, oh, that's the theme. Oh, they're going to leave her. I don't know. Like that the larger organizing principle is like falling apart. And I thought that was going to be the theme. But looking back on the movie, I don't know what the theme was actually.
There's that dinner scene about 3/4 of the way through where they've, Teddy has realized that, he's realized that she's the alien that he thinks that she is. And, whether it's true or not at that point, you're still questioning it. And then at dinner, they're talking about this CCN, some like thing that her company is created a cure or like tried to create a cure, but it actually made Teddy's mom sicker.
Yeah.
And like, so it ties in, I think that ties in the bee thing. It's all about, right? This like sickness where his queen, his mom, is sick. I don't know.
Well, the mom says they make you sick and then they sell you the cure.
Oh, right.
So I wonder if that's the theme.
Yeah.
They make you sick and then they sell you the cure.
It was really, I think it was like a mental gymnastics. Like the theme was like, what is real? What is a conspiracy against us as a general population?
Yeah.
Where does that conspiracy end?
Yeah.
And like it starts with, the people who are packaging for this Amazon-like company, in the movie. And then it starts as low as that, and then it goes up as high as Universal.
Yeah,
right?
Universal.
So
yeah.
I think that's it. It's just like this conspiracy of where does it start? Where does it start with the bees?
Yeah.
And it ends with the universe?
Yeah, and yes. Totally. It is about conspiracy theory and the truth of conspiracy. Like people are conspiring to do things all day, every day.
Oh, yeah.
Um,
Well,
And some of our theories about those conspiracies are real and some of them are not. And sometimes the truth is just as evil as the whacked out theories.
Right.
But it's more benign, like, or not benign, but it's more casual or just rooted in like everyday stuff and money and power and what you would expect rather than, lizard people or aliens
Totally.
or whatever.
Or flat Earth. I love that they kind of poked fun at the flat Earth thing during the movie.
That is such a fun motif in this movie is all of the conspiracy theories that come up. It's
totally.
So good. So I think I would give this like 100% a hell yeah in terms of like the opening images and then ending. Because even like in the beginning, they show her, right, like walking through her space and control. And then at the end, she's limping through the office building. She's completely like out of control. Like,
totally.
Yeah. Just like hanging on to threads of control. And then also what you were saying about, Teddy, he works at sort of an Amazon factory. In the beginning, it kind of shows him working and everybody working sort of like the bees in the hive. But then at the end, it kind of shows just the equipment unmanned and the people sort of on the floor. And like, so he definitely like 100% did that part of the Save the Cats.
Totally.
And I think that there was a theme stated.
Yep.
I think they were kind of stating the theme all throughout the movie. I don't know that, like normally with the Save the Cat, the theme is stated by some other character. Like it'll be like, say it was a movie about a little boy and all of the people like and his family, and then just somebody at school will say, hey, toughen up, kid, you got to believe in yourself.
Sure.
And it's like that person isn't really part of the movie, but they state the theme for the person watching. I don't know that they really did this right after the opening image. I don't know.
It was it was very clearly saying the theme. I think they planted everything throughout perfectly to reconfirm. But the two guys, the cousins, talking about the theme right off the bat.
Yeah.
So it was laid out in front of you, and then they spoon fed it to you throughout in a really, really interesting way. Just like every bite confirmed a little bit more of what you're wondering.
Yes. Yeah. And one thing that I think was interesting about this is it was hard to know who the protagonist was. Like we were certainly focused on Teddy.
Yes.
I think he kind of was the main character. But sometimes when I looked at these different beats, I saw them happening to different characters. For example, there's a setup, right? And the whole setup is just they're showing Teddy and his cousin preparing and getting ready to go and kidnap her.
Yes, like going to the hardware store, getting a
all the
mask. Their masks were hilarious. It was Jennifer Aniston's face.
Jennifer Aniston mask. So there definitely is a setup,
definitely.
Right? And then the catalyst. But I guess what I'm saying is there was this one really, really crazy scene where Teddy is trying to get his cousin to accept a shot of progesterone from him
that would chemically castrate.
That was
him. Heartbreaking.
And the cousin was like, well, I think I might want to be with somebody someday.
And it was so sweet because this guy, he's clearly in his 20s or 30s, right? The sweetest little muffin, though. He's like, what a character. I would love to know more about him as an actor. But he's just the sweetest, most innocent bug, like he's just so cute. And then his cousin is so deep in this hole. And this, Don, the cousin, he just has nowhere else to look. So he has nothing else to live for except for his cousin who's in this hole. And then his cousin's telling him he needs to be chemically castrated for all of these very firm reasons that he has quote unquote evidence of. And he's just like, okay, but I thought maybe one day I could be with somebody.
Oh, so heartbreaking.
It's just because be like, baby.
Teddy believes that if they have their sperm and their masculine, like testosterone and sex drive, that the alien will be able to use that against them. So they need to protect themselves against that by chemically castrating themselves.
Another scene he confirms, like when she's trapped in the basement, and she's like, "What do you want, like sex?" And Teddy like looks at his cousin. He's like, "See, I told you she was gonna try this." And I was like, "Oh, I guess he just, at least there was some evidence for himself. At least Don got that."
Okay, this is something that really confused me. I don't know if there was a B story. So I thought maybe the B story was Brian's relationship with his mother.
Yeah.
Or, oh, wait. Oh, no, I not Brian. I wrote down Brains because I couldn't remember his name. I called him Brains because he was the brains of the operation. So Teddy has his relationship with his mother. He also has a relationship with the cop.
Yes, that's exactly what I wrote down. Life before, with whatever happened with his mom, and the weird babysitter situation.
That's the B story because so the A story is Teddy, his cousin, the Emma Stone's character.
Yes.
That's the A story.
Yes.
And then the B story that's woven through is probably the cop.
Yeah, and I think the mom. I think it's the backstory of why is he this way. It wasn't needed for the kidnapping and everything to happen. However, it gave so much more detail into why he is this way. Like the cop thing, 1000% not necessary to still have gotten from point A to point B. Yeah. But it just added a great B story layer of like, this guy has been fucked up from from his babysitter as a little boy. And like his mom clearly was on opiates, which was like an interesting and like very needed thing to know, but also you didn't need it to get from point A to point B in the story, right?
I think it was showing how somebody becomes this way.
Yes,
like
exactly.
Becomes so like paranoid.
Yeah.
When you have such a horrible upbringing and you deal with so much trauma at such an early age, how can that not affect your ability to like process and cope with life?
Yeah. I mean, I think your complete understanding of who to trust is turned upside down.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
If
exactly.
you can't trust your own mom and your own babysitter, the two core, and his dad was clearly not there, that was mentioned, the two core people who, are supposed to be your securest attachments, then fuck it. Like, why would you trust a CEO? And like, who isn't an alien? You don't, it really leaves a lot of room for unraveling.
So those are the B story.
Yeah.
Fun and game in the Save the Cat. This is the beat where it's supposed to take out sort of the most part of the movie, and it's the promise of the premise. So it's supposed to be the stuff that they would show in like a preview for the movie. And this movie's premise is these conspiracy theorists kidnap a lady. They think she's an alien, right? And so the fun and games beat is they have this woman down in the basement and she's passed out. And they're putting lotion all over her skin.
Antihistamine lotion. And shaving her head.
And they shave her head. And then she's like, it's not fun and games in terms of like, we're laughing out loud here. But there's a bit of a hijinks vibe to it. And you're getting that promise of the premise. You're watching this crazy situation unfolding. She's tied to the bed. She's trying to negotiate with them, have a conversation, figure out how to get herself out of this, where their heads are at. And they're super, super on alert and suspicious of every single thing that she says. And so you get to watch Emma Stone's beautiful face with a shaved head, like emoting, and her eyes, her huge eyes darting back and forth and trying to figure it out. And what the CEO would say and all her like corpse speak.
Oh yeah.
And then him pressing back against the corpse speak and saying it back to her in sort of like a mocking way. That was really good.
It was really good, and they did such a great job of making you really question, is this an act? Like, Emma Stone did just an amazing job of being like, okay, she's supposed to be this brilliant woman. So is she trying to figure her way out of it as a brilliant woman? Or is she an alien? And like, is this guy on to something? Because you know, she does give off an otherworldly vibe of like, of this status, you know, as people think of celebrities or people think of CEOs, of this, like, whether or not we subscribe to it, there is this otherworldliness to celebrities or to these billionaires, you know?
That is so true.
Yeah.
I feel like sometimes it's like when you see a celebrity, they have this kind of air about them. Like you're kind of like, ugh, like there's some kind of like electricity around them. There's an otherworldliness, just like you said.
Yeah.
This is like kind of stupid, like embarrassing aside, but Sean and I, my husband, we like to watch the show called Survivor. Ever heard of it? It's still on TV. Anytime I tell people,
Season number 42.
literally season number 50 is coming up.
Oh,
But
wow.
yeah,
That was a guess.
that was a guess. So every time I tell people about this, they're like, that show is still on TV. Yes, it is. It is thriving, people. Anyway, there was like a event in San Francisco where it was a watch party where all these like old survivors, like people who had played on the
Fun,
show
yeah.
were there. And Sean and I went and we met some of like the people we'd seen on the show and stuff. And I was standing there in the bar, like watching the show on the big TVs. And this girl, this like sort of pretty woman, sort of a slight woman, like with, you know, pretty hair, and she had fake eyelashes on and stuff, but she kind of like came and stood in front of us for a moment and was like watching the TV. And I didn't recognize her from Survivor, but I just like knew she was one of the survivors. Like I could just tell. Part of me thinks that there's like a self-consciousness about them. Like they realize that they're being watched.
Sure, maybe.
But anyways, that's just, I love what you just said about her character.
Yeah.
And how there's an otherworldliness about them that is almost alien.
Yeah,
sometimes.
and it's also a question of what do we as quote unquote normal people put on them?
Mm-hmm.
You know, because that's also a question throughout the movie is like, what is he putting on her versus what she is? And like seeing her act scared. And then is she, as this CEO, scared because she's scared as a human, or is she scared because she's found out as an alien?
Mm-hmm.
You don't know. Like it's really a wild ride they take you on mentally.
Yeah. For me, I didn't think that there was any possibility that she was an alien for at least the first half of the movie.
I'm so curious as to when you feel like you figured it out.
This is the big spoiler, is that like after they kidnap her and during the fun and games, when she's chained to this horrible bed downstairs and they're like, you're an alien. And she's like, I'm not. Like, and you're just like, she's fucking not an alien, you psychos.
Yeah, right. I mean, I was really...
I did not think
just
that
like,
this
what the
was
fuck
her
is
being
happening?
an alien. Like, I
Right.
just did not think that's what this movie was.
Well, okay, so I have a question. At the point when they torture her, is that where you were coming up to? When the Jesse Plemons character, that is what confirms to him that she's an alien. They're torturing her with this electricity, and he gets up to like 500 or 600 volts of electricity, which I have no idea how much voltage kills somebody. I don't think it can be that much. I have no idea. But whatever amount it is, that confirms to him that she's an alien. And then is that when the bad guys are closing in? Or is that when it breaks into two? Like at what point? Because I feel like that was such a pivotal moment for those characters because she was clearly okay after being electrocuted. So then it was like, oh my God, is he actually right? Or was that actually not enough electricity to hurt somebody? Like it really, unless you know how many volts kill somebody.
Yeah.
I'm so curious as to what point that was in the Saves the Cat.
Right. So there's something called the midpoint in Saves the Cat, which I don't remember I never remember
me
what
neither.
that means. Let's see what it means. So the midpoint is the exact middle of the story where the protagonist experiences either a false victory, so he seems to achieve his goal, or a false defeat, like a major setback, but it won't actually defeat him.
Okay, so I would say the midpoint I would say the midpoint is when she's getting electrocuted. Don't you think that's about halfway through the movie? It kind of is him getting this like experience a victory, and you still don't know if it's false or not. I feel like that might be the midpoint.
Right. Maybe that could be the midpoint where it's either Teddy believes that he is victorious in confirming that she is an alien.
Correct.
Although he already knew, but he also now realizes that that no other alien that he's ever tortured before has gotten up to that level.
Right.
And so she must be like a royalty alien.
Oh, right, the royalty. So then, because I think that takes us right into the bad guys closing in. Because now that he's been confirmed in his beliefs, then he feels like, okay, now it's the day before the eclipse and things are going to start happening and they start like foiling the walls and right?
Oh, yeah. When he electrocutes her, I still thought she was totally a human. And that he was torturing a human and that this was so like disgusting and horrible.
Well, so did I. And then it felt very clear that Dawn also was still on the fence on if she could.
The cousin.
Yeah.
The cousin, you can see that he doesn't really fully believe that she's an alien or in what his cousin is saying the whole time. But every time he starts to feed into his own doubts and think about it, his cousin is there to reestablish his belief, to bring him back on side.
And Don has nothing else to live for.
Yeah,
he doesn't. And he's like, if
him.
she is an alien, I want to go with her. Because there's nothing here on the world.
I know that's so sad. Yeah. And I was kind of wondering with the bad guys closing. I was kind of wondering if the bad guys closing in part was. The bad guys were like doubts. His cousin starts having more doubts. Like it's almost like that's closing in. And then whenever the woman, the Emma Stone character, says, "You are mentally ill."
Yeah.
And you just see this sort of glimmer in his eye, like she's sort of penetrated like a tiny bit. Like there might be a tiny sliver within him that wonders, like, am I just crazy? Totally. And sometimes I thought in this movie that the bad guys closing in was doubts too.
Sure.
But I don't know.
I also think that dinner scene is pretty pivotal. She's already been electrocuted. He thinks that she's, the high power alien. And then they have this conversation at the table where the power dynamic really shifts and you can see him getting scared and filling himself with doubt. And he climbs across the table. And then soon thereafter that the police show up.
Yeah, that's bad guys closing in. Yeah,
for sure. I think that whole 10-minute sequence in that movie is very much the bad guys closing in. Right?
Yes. That's supposed to be followed by A Dark Night of the Soul. Which is,
don't you think, Dawn?
I thought The Dark Night of the Soul was, first of all, the lady who's supposed to be the alien she has a whole altercation. She gets tied back down to the bed and there's a cop there upstairs with Teddy walking around and talking to Teddy. And Dawn, the cousin, is left down there with a shotgun and the Emma Stone character. Emma Stone is, feeding into his doubts, but then also you can tell that the character decides, okay, I'm not going to be able to sway him from his cousin's point of view because he loves his cousin. So I'm just going to have to feed into this. Mm-hmm. The cousin ends up killing himself because he believes that if he shoots himself, the Emma Stone character will take him up with her,
right? Yeah,
in her spaceship, and he'll get to live up there in space with her and not be a part of the world anymore.
Right, which I think that was also just a misunderstanding. I don't think he understood how any of it was supposed to work with his cousin in the first place. Aww. I think that his cousin Teddy had been telling him they were going to go up there and they were going to help sort it out and then come back down.
Yeah, but he had thought that they weren't going to come back down. And then when he found out they were coming back down, he was so sad. The Dark Night of the Soul, I thought, was after that part where Jesse's riding his bike.
Yeah, that's
to go see his mom.
Yeah, that's so I think that's the Dark Night of the Soul. Is so this has just happened with Teddy killing himself, and he kills the cop who had
Don killing himself.
Yeah, Don kills himself. Sorry, Don kills himself. Teddy beats the cop to death after the cop admits that he's molested Teddy as a child and all of this stuff. It's this intense moment, and then he goes down to find that she is, she's down there with Don's body, and then she gives him a quote-unquote cure to go cure his mom, who up until that moment we didn't really know she was still alive.
Yeah.
But somehow she knows she's still alive, which was
interesting.
Which was really interesting. So yeah, I think that's very much the Dark Night of the Soul moment of and then he kills his mom by accident via the cure.
Yeah.
And then I think that's when it breaks into three.
Yeah. So the Dark Night of the Soul it's sort of like all is lost.
Yes.
Teddy, his cousin is dead. And he's biking over to whatever the facility is where his mother is in a coma. And you just see him completely distraught and biking. So it's like probably less than a minute is the Dark Night of the Soul beat. What does break into three mean?
I think break into three is kind of like the third act of like... sorry, what were we going to say?
I was going to say it's like the protagonist recommits. They're supposed to like recommit.
Right. Break into three is when he comes back. He realized he killed his mom.
Yeah.
Via Emma's advice. She, in that moment, has the chance to see all of his other experiments. She breaks free of the chains. She sees all the other experiments he's done on other people and quote unquote aliens. And you're wondering, why isn't she leaving? Why isn't she running away? She had the chance to. You see her starting up the stairs, but then she goes back down.
So the break into three, beat 13 for Save the Cat, is supposed to happen around the 80% mark of the film. And I would say it might happen a little later in this movie, which it totally does break into three.
Yep.
At this point, I still thought that Emma Stone's character was not an alien.
Totally, me too.
So she goes in, she finds this like secret room where Teddy has some of the body parts of the other aliens that he has
and
like
humans.
dissected and humans and whatever. And he has 3D printed like the spaceship that he believes exists and all this crazy stuff. It's like his crazy room.
Yes.
And Emma Stone is like looking at it. And I'm like,
why aren't you leaving?
Yeah. So Rachel's saying, why aren't you leaving? And I didn't have that feeling necessarily. My feeling, I think, was more like she was locked down there or something.
I was like, why aren't you leaving? And then I was like, okay, maybe she is a fucking alien. She wants to check out his information that he has. But then when she's still there when he gets back, which is, I think, the biggest breaking the three moment, and she starts telling him everything he wants to hear about the apes and how they came down and they gave humans this many chances. But they had also shown her reading all of his notes.
Yes.
And I was like, okay, so she just remembered all his notes. She's telling him what he wants to hear so that they can go out together into the... And I'm like, I'm still so questioning myself of like, is she just this smart? Like, she realized that she should read these notes that he's clearly taken, all of the stuff he thinks is fact. And she's going to use it against him to get out.
Yeah. So when Teddy comes back from accidentally killing his mother with what the Emma Stone character had convinced him to put in her fluid supply, which was antifreeze, she said, it's not antifreeze. That's just, the bottle is just where I hide it. That's the cure. And so he goes in and kills her. And then when he comes back, the speech is amazing that she gives him.
It is.
It starts with the dinosaurs. And she says that, yes, she is an alien and she's this royal alien. And they came to Earth and they found the dinosaurs and everything was beautiful and perfect. But then the aliens fucked up or something. And then they all they killed all the dinosaurs. But then the apes and this and how the alien race and the human race like got into sort of like a turmoil.
Well, because the humans kept degrading themselves. Like humans kept, like they were these supreme beings. They would make them perfect, and then humans would wipe themselves out repeatedly and just keep lowering themselves to the lowest common denominator. Like they started. You remember there was the point where she says something about being on the ark.
Oh,
and
yeah,
then
she includes the ark, which is amazing.
Like the humans are on the ark, but then by the time the world dries and they can get off the boat, they're just apes again because they've degraded themselves.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, okay.
So it includes all of these amazing parts of like the conspiracy theory lore, right? Like you've got like the dinosaurs and then what happened to them and it was because of aliens. And then you've got like the ark really did happen, but what was it really about?
Yeah, and religion.
It was really aliens.
Right.
And yeah, I love that. And like sprinkling in different conspiracy theories to create like this narrative. And it was so awesome.
It was. And then it was so perfect because, I mean, it was written beautifully because you're still like, there's no way. This is so ridiculous. This has to have been his notes.
Yeah, those were his notes. She's just reciting it because she's so smart. She has to convince him to take her out of there.
Right.
She convinces him to go with her back to her office because and she's going to contact the alien ship. And then they go back there and they sneak in, which is hilarious. And then she takes out a calculator and she's like, I have to put in 53 digits into this calculator so that the ship comes or whatever.
And
you're
it has
just like,
to
this
look
is
like a human
hilarious.
object.
And it's just like so funny because it's so conspiracy theory-esque. And this is when I started to think maybe this is like the very fucking end of the movie, you guys. I started being like, maybe she is an alien and maybe they are going to the ship.
When she tells him to get into the closet, and she's got the calculator thing, I was like, no, she's just fucking genius. She's a human. She's genius. She's figured out how to get out of this. See, that's when I was reconfirmed that she's human. Was like, she's just so smart.
Yeah.
And
when she's looking, she's like pretending to put the thing into the calculator, and you see her kind of looking around because she's in her office, and you can see people kind of crowding around because she's been missing, and she's sort of backing away from the closet that he went into.
Right.
But that was literally like my first glimmer of thinking she was an alien at all.
Funny.
The whole movie, I did not think, am I dumb?
Okay, so then he has a bomb strapped to him because he still doesn't trust her 100%.
Yeah.
And then the bomb accidentally goes off in the closet right at the last second, and he kills himself.
Which this is like one of the craziest moments in this movie is when his head flies out of the closet and hits her in her head
and knocks her out.
Hits her. His head fucking flies out and hits her in the head. Oh my god.
Okay, so then she's knocked out, and then the next scene she's in an ambulance. And this is like the best finale. I gotta say, this is the best finale. She's in the ambulance, and then she wakes up in the ambulance, and she's like, "Is he dead?" And the EMT is like, "Oh yes, he's passed away." And she's like, "Okay." And she gets up while the fucking ambulance is moving, unwraps her neck, jumps out the back of the ambulance, and then that was for me. It was like, what the fuck? She is an alien.
Yes, that's when you
and she like looks up at the moon.
Sure.
And like, so I literally was questioning everything back and forth the entire movie until that moment.
I mean, that's because this was a genius.
It was written so
well. I wonder how good the Korean novel is.
Oh my God. I would love to know.
You know, I love Korean shit. I love Korean movies. I love Korean art.
Yeah, it's really incredible.
Like, please give us more. Give it all. Like, I'm so glad that we're starting to be in an era where in America it's just opening up to like these new voices and translations.
Seriously,
thank
absolutely.
God. So we're not. So even if this, we can shove this story into
I think we're shoving it. We're shoving it. Yeah.
But it's also like, it is good filmmaking to have this opening image and then cap off your movie with the final image where it brings back to mind where you started but shows how different things are now. I mean, that's just good filmmaking.
I think it is. We have to talk for 1 second before we move on.
Oh my God.
About the aliens. So at the end, she is an alien.
Yes.
And she goes to her ship.
Alien.
And the costumes for these aliens, you have to watch the movie. I feel like you have to see it if only for this alien ship. These costumes
are so awesome.
I can't.
The best.
I can't.
I want one. I want to walk around. They're these like big, puffy,
crocheted,
amazing brown and white, and all the aliens are like, they're human because they created man in their image.
Right.
So they don't look different. They look like humans. So they all have long hair, and they say something about needing the hair to communicate with each other.
Right.
And then they have a diorama of the Earth, or like maybe it just literally is the Earth.
Seems like it.
So the Earth is sitting in the middle of their
which is
council,
flat.
and it's flat.
It's flat.
The Earth is flat. It's so good. I love that the Earth is flat in this.
Wait, hold on. You got to get to it when they make the decision.
They decide that,
and then
it's that humanity has had enough chances, and she just takes like a needle and pops the atmosphere.
And it literally goes pop.
She pops it like a bubble, and then everybody on Earth dies. But for some reason, the animals are still alive.
Well, because just humans. Humans are the problem.
Yeah.
Right? So, like, bees are still there, which takes us to our closing scene. The dog is still there, like the birds. But everyone's dead. And I thought it was a really interesting and smart choice that it showed children, that showed people and they're just keeled over, right? It's not like there's a bloodbath or anything, but it shows, people in the midst of having sex. It shows kids at a museum, people in school, all over the world. They're just dead. Like, they just killed humanity because they had to start over again. And then you go to the bees. And I thought it was like such an ending.
Yeah.
And because to whatever conspiracy world with the aliens, it's just as easy as a boop.
Yeah. That is so freaky. So I think that our final conclusion as to whether this script was written with like the actual Save the Cat in mind, I would say probably not.
No.
I don't think this script writer, I mean, I'm sure he knows what it is, but I don't think that he uses it as a template as such.
It would be interesting. So it was originally written by this Korean writer, and then it was adapted into the screenplay for Americans by Will Tracy. Yeah. So I wonder what sort of filter it goes through of, the original film, the original Save the Green Planet by Jang Joon-hwan, and then being adapted into a screenplay by Will Tracy for Americans. What sort of Saves the Cat filter does it go into? Because that would be... I would love to watch the original versus this one and see how that works.
Yeah. Oh, this is funny.
Because maybe it was... I mean, no offense to Will Tracy. We don't know anything about him as a writer. But maybe he shoved it into the Saves the Cat box. And the original is a little bit different, right. I would be really curious,
right, to like sell it to American consumers,
right.
He was a writer on Succession, which is like one of my favorite shows of all time. Damn, that works so well for her, right?
Totally. We definitely think that you should watch Bugonia. I will absolutely watch it again. I would rate this movie as one of my top 10 films ever. And this writing was fantastic. Will Tracy, if you did shove it into a Saves the Cat box, I appreciate you. And I appreciate the original writing, because it was really a fun original ride that I did not see coming.
Yeah. Awesome, man. Yeah, definitely go watch that. And let's see. I think we should probably just wrap it. Oh,
okay. Well,
we were gonna
I can go quick.
Okay,
because it's not like I'm going to go stories by story. So I went to the other day, on Wednesday, I went to the Writer's Ruckus. So as you might remember from earlier episodes, when I was a student at CSM, my story, The Compliment, got accepted into the Writer's Ruckus. So this semester at the Writer's Ruckus, quite a few people that I went to school with were accepted, and I'm so happy I got to hear them. So my friend MJ, as you have heard her before.
Congratulations, MJ.
Woohoo! And then my good friend Izzy Schrodel, she also won a spot, and they did a trio poem called Call Me Crazy that was incredible, that I'll talk about a little bit. Ooh. But also Ashley Evans, she is writing a memoir, and this was a story from her memoir that was really cool. Ooh. And Colleen Chan, she's been writing a series of kind of essays about her life in Korea. And then Dominica Pizua, and she's also writing a novel that's really cool. So I'm just so I just love that I was in class with them, and now they're all in the Ruckus too.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. Had a good time?
I had a great time listening to their work. All of it was incredible. It was so fun being just an audience member and not having the nerves and all of the things that I had last time I heard everyone else's work, because I was so in my own head. So it was really cool to be just the audience member.
And so the trio, Alexis, MJ, and Izzy Schrodel, the Call Me Crazy. What did they do? They were three of them performing it together?
Yes, I would love for them to either read it for us on the podcast or something, because they did a great job. They took turns saying different stanzas and then saying some of the lines together. Like, I'm Not Sorry was one of the ones they repeated together, or, you know, Call Me Crazy was one of the things. And it was all about what it's like being a woman and being you know, held down. And these are all younger women. They, you know, just have had various levels of discomfort being young women in this world. And Izzy is actually a really incredible poet. Her genre that she works within is like, God, I'm not going to say it right, but she's had quite a bit of time in a mental hospital where she had been committed. And so a lot of her work is poetry about like the tick, tick, tick of the clock when she's in white walls, and the tick, tick, tick of the doctor's pens. And, you know, and like, it's really like, it just gave me chills. That poem that she read in class was incredible.
Oh, I'd love to have her read that for the pod.
Let me see what she called it. Eco writing, radical psychology. She, you know, loves to talk about the hard-hitting stuff like abortion. And I thought that it would be really fun, if you're down, to have her as a guest on the podcast. And she'd said she'd be interested to not only read some of her work, but to talk about like the inspiration behind these harder hitting, you know, topics, and, you know, what that means to her as an activist and woman and all of the things.
Oh my gosh, I would love to. We should definitely do that. Do you think we could do that soon, like for the next one?
She sounded down. Yeah.
Okay, great. And I'm going to have some stories soon, because I am going on a mini road trip with my friend's mom.
Okay.
To Sacramento to watch this sort of like poet, Sophia Isela. She's the one that does like the doll people are crazy. They had just look her up on Instagram, you guys. Sophia Isela. So I'm going with my friend's mom. We're going down there. We're gonna have magic. We're gonna do a bunch of magic, and we're gonna have a wild time together.
Okay.
And then I got us a hotel room with like 2 bedrooms and stuff. And I don't know why I'm doing this with my friend's mom, but I am.
You know, when it clicks, it clicks.
I click with her, and I honestly, like, I feel really, I feel honored when people, like older people, want to actually talk to me and spend time with me. I remember when I was like 19 wanting to hang out with 30-year-olds, and they were like, fucking kick rocks, you dumb bitch. Like, we don't want to hang out with you. You're an idiot still. So now that I feel like I'm getting older people are like, it just sort of like the playing field starts to level more and more the older you get. So now finally my friend's parents actually want to spend time with me, which is very gratifying. And hopefully not awkward for my friend Dilara.
Well, hopefully not.
Yeah, we'll see.
Yeah. Okay, well, I will see about when Izzy can come on. And in the meantime, enjoy your magic poetry.
Adventure
I can't wait to hear about
the
it.
mom. Okay, great. So we'll talk to you guys soon.
Yeah, bye.